Assassin's Creed Mirage is the 13th major installment of the franchise by Ubisoft. Supposedly taking a step back from the RPG aspect of recent games, Ubisoft has claimed to be returning back to their traditional stealth assassin roots with Mirage. But does it deserve your money and time? Let's find out. Assassin's Creed Mirage is set in Baghdad during the 9th century. You play Basim, a street thief who, after a heist gone wrong, finds himself becoming a fully fledged assassin. The main story revolves around the ongoing conflict between the Assassins and Templars, this time called the Hidden Ones in the Order, in traditional Assassin's Creed fashion. Now you've got the gist, let's get down to the meat and gravy. Let's start with what the game does well. The setting, being Baghdad in the 9th century, looks incredible. From faithfully created Islamic architecture to vibrant street markets, thousands of assets have been created to ensure authenticity. However, you probably already knew that. I don't think anyone's ever complained about the visual team for the Assassin's Creed franchise, so I won't spend too much time on it. But as usual, well done to the art and visuals team. Moving on to gameplay, Mirage puts the focus back on stealth. You have multiple tools to help you take on larger groups of enemies. My favourite is the throwing knife. Despite being a mechanic seen in previous games, it feels redone with significant work on the weight and feel. It just feels good to get headshots while remaining in stealth. Stealth may not be revolutionary or particularly innovative, but I can't deny that I enjoyed clearing a fortress of guards, hiding behind cover, whistling to divert attention, assassinating enemies from hiding spots, and using parkour to infiltrate areas. Oh, and also some of the combat finishes look cool. They're nice and quick and don't take control from you for too long. Now let's move on to the bad. Notice how in the good section I managed to scrape together that 1. The visuals were good, 2. The stealth was okay, and 3. The finishes look cool. The largest problem for Assassin's Creed Mirage in my eyes is how it does literally nothing better than its predecessors. The story and protagonist are forgettable. I'll grant that Basim has potential, but that's hardly saying anything when every other character in this game is so boring. I can't remember any names, nor unique characteristics of important characters. The parkour, while being an improvement from the previous 3, still leaves a lot to be desired. It doesn't provide the control of Assassin's Creed 2, nor the animation variety of Unity. No wall ejects, no ledge grab, no time parkour roll, and you can jump from any height without dying. It's like the developers thought we would rage out if we died when it was genuinely our fault. The only strength over the other games is its speed. You can vertically scale buildings in seconds, leading to rooftop access faster than ever. But this still isn't enough to outshine previous entries. Similar to the parkour, the combat is basic and lacking any depth. You have light attack, heavy attack, dodge, parry, and you can use some of your tools during combat. You can either choose to hit an enemy up to 4 times or parry them for an instant kill. While the finishes are well animated, there's way too few of them, so combat quickly becomes repetitive. I can hail back to the very first Assassin's Creed game, which had far more diversification in its animations and its movesets. What's worse is combat, as basic as it is, doesn't even need to be played. Given how quickly the tools become overpowered, you can simply throw a smoke bomb and one-hit kill all enemies in the area. You also have a whopping 5 enemy types: a grunt, an armoured heavy that you'll need to attack from behind, a flamethrower, archers, an elite Shakiria, an elite Shakiria, which admittedly does provide some challenge at the start, but like the others will quickly become the same rinse and repeat tactics. It's a serious regress from earlier entries, and I haven't even mentioned the ridiculous I'm so fast I teleport through space and time Assassin's focus, allowing you to tag up to 5 enemies once fully upgraded, and chain kill all of them with super speed. Luckily this feature is optional, and to be honest, I forgot I even had it after the tutorial. Though these special Marvel superhero powers I see creeping their way into the franchise need to die forever. It's power fantasy enough that I'm a trained assassin. I don't need to be God. Having just backed the visual and art teams, I now have to throw shade at the UI team, or at least the person that requested this much UI. Despite being a good looking game, it's covered with HUD. A compass, a territorial panel, a notoriety bar, health and stamina, assassin's focus, tools, enemy health bars, tips and messages, a floating bright orange marker.
I hate this fucking shit!
And to top it off, in the top left it constantly displays your mission task. Now thankfully there is some customization in the game's menu, but not enough. Why can't I press a button to reveal the HUD when I want it? Why do I have to manually turn off every individual thing when you can just temporarily hide it until I need it? And in general, when we have huge open worlds made by Rockstar that manage to get by with a tiny radar and a few icons, which can easily be turned off by the way, and games like Ghost of Tsushima and Dead Space that have created mechanics that altogether replace a HUD, why is Ubisoft doing the same thing as always? I'm genuinely trying to immerse myself in your game's world, and you have 50 different things in my face blocking all the scenery. I would encourage all players to turn off as much of the HUD as they can without the game becoming a slog to fully appreciate the visuals. While Baghdad has been faithfully recreated, I find the game's use of Islam underwhelming. While I'm no expert in Islamic theology, the game barely uses it within the story or the world building. Now in fairness, codices have been added which offer value in the historical accounts, but these are separate from the gameplay. Outside of greetings and goodbyes, I feel like it's barely referenced, when it would have been a driving force of philosophy and conversation of the time. And your combat trainer is an old woman. An old woman, teaching combat to men in the Middle East in the 9th century. Did I mention she was 59 years fucking old? Look, in a fantasy universe or an original story, I could buy into a woman having to train from birth in a patriarchal society and faring quite well against male combatants. But when you set your game in a historical setting, it's up to you to be faithful to the time period to ensure its authenticity. This forced diversity in an attempt to create diverse games has actually made every game look and feel the same. Funnily enough, there wasn't any gay or trans representation in Mirage, so I guess they decided to be accurate with that one. You know, I was originally thinking of giving this game an 8. I was actually enjoying running around as an assassin again, with at least some parkour and a usable stealth system. There's optional assassination contracts that have a certain requirement like remaining undetected or only killing your target, which were okay to switch my brain off and mop up. However, like I already mentioned, the game does nothing better than its earlier installments. Not the story, combat, parkour, RPG elements, protagonist, NPC, AI. I can't justify rewarding something that hasn't shown any innovation, just gone backwards. Using the term back to our roots as a marketing ploy to sell what once was a DLC, while not returning to its roots in any meaningful way people wanted, Assassin's Creed Mirage gets a 6 out of 10. Unless you're a hardcore Assassin's Creed fan or like the idea of sneaking around and throwing knives, save your money instead.